Okay, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. So this is part two of our this is part two of our two-part series on Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. In the last class, we talked about updates and servicing logs, right? So this is what we talked about. We talked about update and servicing in uh, service in the administration node section. Uh, we also talked about DMP downloader logs, right? We talked about using registry using CM trace tool to read logs. In the log, we talked about location uh, specific errors within within the log itself, right? So there we go. Okay, and then rather than using Notepad, which is sort of a default used by default, right? Um, and we also talked about using the registry regist registry editor to read registry editor and uh, its hives to locate data within created within an already created um, H key, right? So, and again, when we talk about H keys, we talk about within the registry, we talk about the name, the type, right? So we can create anything here. We can create a key or a string value, right? Or a D word value, right? So in this instance, if we were to um, modify the data, this is in a string that we created, right? So we can create new string values, right? And give it a name as test, right? And then and then edit the test, modify the binary data, right? So we can add the value there. So that's just how that's uh, created, those strings, right? So these are actual strings that are created. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Okay. Uh, String values. Uh, String values, right? So just make note of that. Okay. So again, these are the top things that we talked about. Not nominate this, and again we use that, and then we also talked about the actual DM log. We explained the explanation of the down how it's used and what it is, and we also talked about um, the actual log entries, right? The different log entries. So we talked about the log entries, right? And I'll give you some of those notes if you need so. And we talked about the purpose and usage of the box files and directories, right? So let's go ahead and purpose of docs, files, and directories. And then we also talked about, if I go back here, we talked about different file types, example of file types, uh, purpose usage, common box directories, purpose, its usage, and common box directories. Okay, so these are specific things that we talked about within my last video. And again, if you need information on that, just let me know. I think I've already uh, put in the links in the description. Just message me on WhatsApp if you're interested. So hopefully by then we also talked about the assignment. Hopefully you guys done that. Tell me why it's happening. I've had a few people already message me and send me some great information. I appreciate that. You could tell you guys want to work hard and smart. I appreciate that very much. So in today's class, again, today's part two. We're 10th of December, right? What we did already. This is what we already did, right? And what we're going to be talking about. So I want to talk about the checklist for downloading and downloading the configuration Nine Manager. So in the last class, um, if I open up my thing, we were a little bit behind on the state. So this has already been installed. As you can see, it took a little bit of time. And again, remember what I told you guys. You guys are able to check the history of that, and then it'll tell us the last date and time as remember. So show status. So if we show the status, that'll give us the information that we need, right? For that specific package GUID that's been given. So in this instance, it was created. Um, I don't have to, if this is just for if my SCP is online, that's already downloaded. If my service connection point is offline, then this step is skipped. The SCP, I kind of explained it to you guys a little bit about what SCP is a while back in one of my old videos. Kindly please take a look at that video that should be available for you guys to take a look at, right? But again, the SCP is an optional role, so you don't have to. Uh, it's required to. So the SCP is required to upgrade MECM from old version to the latest version, right? So this will download the actual package, right? So it kind of does um, fall into place, right? So when you're downloading from an older version, so our older version is 24, let's say 2403, and we need to download to the 2409. So we kind of do have to need that. So that service connection point is skipped if it's on, and then we could check the details for that and troubleshoot that later. I just want to kind of show you what that is. That way you guys understand how that works. And then we also have our extract, and this one was uh, started on the 9th, and it looks like there's no errors here, so that's good. It installed all the files, registries, and whatnot, and you can kind of take a look at that on your own time. Make sure that this is uh, in line with what you have. And again, when we install the service itself and those different components, this goes out, and we can check these specific details for more details if you want to take a look at that. The prerequisite checks was a SQL service performance. Again, for more information, copy that and put that in our notes. And I want you guys to, as an assignment, right? I want you guys to uh, tell me why this is happening, and then send that to me in assignment number 2. Okay. Let me know how that works. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to message me on WhatsApp. The harder you work, the more I respect you, and your dedication is very uh, warranted. So this is our assignment number 2. So again, I want you to check that in a Word or .pdf file, please. send this to my WhatsApp or via email, right? So if you have any questions, again, this is where I've done again. This was from our part one. If you've already watched it, and I appreciate everybody that did so. Okay. And then my WhatsApp, just give me a call. Right. And okay. All right. And what I want you guys to do is I would like you to um, troubleshoot any errors or warnings that you might occur while uh, uploading your or updating, installing, downloading uh, your hot fixes or roll up hot fix. Okay, so that's definitely important. Again, one of the errors that I faced, one of the errors that I faced during the installation was the following, right? And yours might be different. Remember, yours might be different. Okay. So as you can see, I've already troubleshooted that. I want you guys to try this I want you guys to try this, right? And back to 20. Okay, I want you guys to try this on your end. Please message me when you're done, or if you have any questions, message me. I have a few people that did this already. I appreciate that, guys. I really do. I'm just gonna make this blue, and I'm going to take this out. I don't want the color, and I'm going to go underline this. Okay, so that's the assignment for you guys. Again, we I remember what we've already did. What we talked about the update and servicing, the administration node. We talked about well, location, right? Location. We also talked about um, if you guys remember, we also talked about the updates and features and console extensions, right? So the different features, we turn on the feature type release for the features and console extensions, right? So we talked about that as well too yesterday, right? And again, we talked about um, features, right? And features and console extensions. And again, watch the video if you missed it. Right? So within the features, we talked about the features. Within the features, we turned on BitLocker, right? So that was which was off, right? So we turned that on, and then the console extensions. Um, we need to we it was so basically the console extensions were added we're not showing the chart, not showing the chart, right? Like graphs, bar graphs, pie graph, bar graph chart, right? So we troubleshooted that. In the administration date and servicing node, right? Right. So uh, just remember when we, was it recording? Just make sure this is recording. Yeah, it's recording. So we we talked about that, right? We weren't showing the pie graph. So if we go back to our trusty MECM console, our admin console, and we look at that, we have our Web2 extension, which was added. Right, this wasn't really showing us, so it's needed for Community Hub and other functionalities like within our software center. So we right. So when we're looking at the specific updates and service nodes, right? So we have our monitoring section for that, where we have our specific hot fixes, right? And we can see the statuses for that, right? We can view the setup configuration tasks, and we can refresh those and add those and take a look at the different errors, like I said, and I explained to you what each error was, and I want you guys to do this as an assignment, right? And I want you guys to take a look at that and see what you can come up with, and then send that to me um, in a Word document or PDF document. Okay. And I want you to send that to my WhatsApp group or just message me directly. There were a few people have already sent that to me, so I appreciate their uh, kind message, and hard work always pays off, right? Um, So same thing with the hotfix rollup. If we go here, we show the status. In this case, we do not have the SCP, right? So I'm not going to, um, you know, and actually this hasn't been downloaded, right? So if we go back to our administration console, and this one has been added already, and I've already enabled notifications for that. So as you can see, the notifications WebView 2 extension was added, right? Sorry, this is where not showing web view to extension notifications, right? So that's that. So we talked about that, and again, watch the videos if you guys want to learn more. So that's that. So if we go back to our updates and services, we go to here. This is now ready to install, as you can see in the state they're ready to install. So in our last part one where we enabled, this was grayed out. So I'm going to go ahead and install it now, right? And I'm going to ignore any prerequisite checks. I don't want to do it just to save some time. You're more than welcome to try it without unchecked, right? And if you need to learn more, um, just click on the link here below. Right? And we talked about this yesterday, the different issues that were fixed, what's new within this version here, and what's not new. So I'm going to go ahead and just click next. And again, this will include site server updates, console updates, and client updates, right? And then we'll click next. So talking back about the SCP, I wanna, but before I move on, I want to talk about, SCP today, because I think that still is important. Um, so, again, I'm going to, start off with we're talking about. Let's do that. Let's talk about the SCP. So SCP stands for service, right? Connection point, right? This is an optional role, right? And I did speak about that in my other video. You guys should have access to that. It's again, if you need access, just email me. Um, it's so basically it's an optional role. The SCP is required to upgrade, right? MECM from an old version, right, to the latest version. What do I mean? So in this instance, what I mean is, you have a version, say for example, we have a version of 2303, right? So our latest version is, what do we have? Latest version is 23, or no, sorry. What do I have here? Apologies, guys. Give me 1 second. So this is 2403, sorry. So this is going to be 2403. So even if, let's go to the about here. So this is 2403, right? So there's a 2409 here. So I'm going to need SCP, right? Right? Version 24, version build 2403. Again, we said that it's the year and the month, right? So 2403, which was year, month. So year, month. Okay. Right. All right. To the latest version. So the latest version will be 2409, right? So version 2409. Okay. So that's our goal here, and that's the goal of the SCP, which is our service connection point. Um, it's required to upgrade our MECM from an old version to the latest version. So our old version is 2403, right? And again, version is year and month, to new version. For example, the new version that's coming out, right? Service connection point is also, again, it's an optional. I may have it installed. I'll have to double check. If not, we can install it. I'll install it together with you guys. We'll install it. Um, let's review if we have this role installed. If not, install it. Right. So if you don't have it, install. If you do have it, great. If you don't, install it. Right, we need to test this feature out, and that's what we're going to be doing together. So again, it is important because you know it's okay. So for example, SCP, let's make this a look. SCP is required, right, to integrate Azure cloud services in MECM. So what do I mean by that? Okay. We're talking about Azure itself. We talk about Office 365. These are services, right? So these are services in an MECM. Um, you know, uh, we have Gateway, right? We have co-management, stuff like this, right? So co-management, Azure AD, right? Or Entra AD, cloud management, right? Stuff like that. So these are sort of examples of the services in MECM. These are examples. These are some examples of Azure Cloud Services, right? Right? Okay. So again, it's an optional role. It's required to upgrade MECM from an old version to the latest version. The old version right now we have is 2403, and again, your version could be different, right? So it goes by year and month. That's how um, that's the actual build number and how it's created. To a new version of 2409, which is the newest version that's out there. So it let's review together, like together. Let's review this together. So let's review this together, together, right? And see if we have this rule installed. If not, install it. Simple, right? So I, that's something we're gonna do that later on. And again, um, right? So SCP is also required to integrate Azure Cloud Services and MECM. These are some examples of Azure Cloud Services, and the examples are Azure, Office 365, Gateway, co-management, Azure Active Directory, right? AD Active Directory and cloud management, right? So that's sort of what that is. And again, it's must be installed. And again, this is also important. Um, SCP must be installed, right, on a primary site server or task server. So it is important, okay, to note that it's not installed on a task. This is nice. All right, guys, sorry about that. I'll be right back. All right, so back. Um, so we if we go back to our ready to install. This is now going to be installed. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. You come back and look at those. Se não prova, como que amanhã? Huh? I know, so pode me chamar, that's fine. Let me, hold on. My baby came off the jump. You're out, that's the problem. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Ma uccello, ce l'ho. La mamma. Oh, va bene, sì, 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 quello che... Sì. Yeah, no problem. Listen, I'll tell them to call you back. I don't know what time they're coming back. No problem. I'll call you back. All right, so we see now that the this is ready to install. I've gone ahead and already started that installation. I've already installed it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is go back to our check now again, as I discussed what we were discussing about before. And within our notes, we talked about the SCP. So the SCP again, it's installed on a primary cast, and what we're gonna do is review this together, uh, and then go back to our installation part. So if I were to draw this out for you guys, let me grab a paint node here. And I want you guys to kind of understand how this whole thing works, right? So if this was our SCP, right, and then we have our two cloud services here, right? So this is our cloud service, right? And then we have our again our MECM server, right? Primary site server, right? So this is our MECM PS, right? And again, this is our SCP, SCP. This is our SCP, our service connection point, right? And if we're looking at the different services, let me get this a little bit bigger. So if we're looking at the different services, we have our Azure cloud service, right? That's always communicate again, our Azure cloud service, right? And then put that in there. And then we also have our Microsoft, our MUS, right? So our MUS, which is which is our Microsoft update server, right? Or MUS. Right? Okay. And now again, the communication works in a direction. So for example, we have our version of 20. Put that over there, and then put that over there. So if we talk about version, our old version is 2403, right? Version 2403, right? So that's our current version right now, right? So, right. And then we have our role that should be installed, right? We're going to install our role if we haven't done so, right? So that's going to be installed in our primary site. And then we have our Azure Communication Service. So the SCP communicates, right, with the Azure Cloud Services, right, right, and and the SCP checks with our checks. SCP service checks the MUS, right? So that's how that aspect works, right? So you have to kind of understand how that um, this whole role and then again any communication that happens between the MEC MPS is found in our SCP role. So you have to understand that it is optional, right? This is an optional role. Let me write that down again here. Optional. Let me delete this here. Oh, here. Erase this word here. Optional. So again, guys, this is an optional role, right? You don't have to install it, but again, it's there for you because it helps you, right? Okay. So if I were to draw this out again, guys, remember, you have your primary site role. It's going to be installed here, right? So it's going to be, this is our SCCM agent, right? This is our SCCM agent. So when we go ahead and we're looking at our um, assets and compliance, our devices, right? So our clients are installed. So that's our client would be installed in that, right? So when we're going ahead for these before we get into the role, I want you guys to kind of understand how SCP works because SCP is important, especially in the new documentation that you guys are going to see later on, right? So it is important when we're talking about that, um, you know, and how that works in the specific versions, right? And current versions that are out there, right? So this all deals with um, procedures and how the different nodes work, right? So on the checklists that we're talking about, right? So this is all important data for you guys to take a look at and read um, because it does help with the installation of um, the different versions and whatnot, right? Okay, so if I go back to my drawing board, um, again, this is what is SCP, right? So what is service connection point, all right? So this is our SCP for short diagram. So I want you guys to note that. And again, this is our SCCM, this is our client agent, our CCM client. Okay. All right, and this is again just so that you understand how this works. So the SCP role service, right, checks the MUS server. right, for updates, right? So if there's an update of, 2409, it checks for that update and it says, yeah, we have that update. And the SCP also communicates with the Azure cloud service, right? So it also communicates with that cloud server. Uh, that has to be set up. Obviously, you need to set that up, um, online to get that going, right? So once that's set up, you should be able to, um, create your own service connection point. Okay, and so that's that. Now, other than that, there's not too much to know about that, but have a kind of understanding of how this all comes into play, right? With different updates, right? Hot fixes within that are communicating within our Azure cloud service, and services that are checked within our MUS or Microsoft update server. So that's also important to note. And I'm going to take this picture and put this in our notes here. Okay, as a good read for that. And again, we are going to install this together. So we'll go ahead and install. Let's review that and see if we have that together. But before we do that, I want to before we do that, so I'm going to move this out. Before we do that, we are going to install um, configuration manager hotfix. Okay. So if we go back to our MEC MPS, right, I'm going to cancel out of this. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go back to our, our administration site, and within there we have a roll up, our hotfix roll up. So again, hotfix roll up. If we need to figure out the status, we click on the related object. And if we need to know any general information, we could take the general information from here and read. Oh, I'm going to take this info. So this part here in our summaries page is important. If there were any other features, you would click on that and see if there was any features that were named for that. So again, this is ready to install. So as you can see, no, in our first video, I'm going to check, do a refresh just in case. So from our last video, there were these were different. And I want you to state that this is already installed, right? And I want you to go through those errors and warnings to kind of understand how that works and how that doesn't work. Yeah, see, that's not working yet. So the 2409 will note there's some changes in here. We have some options in this section, which is kind of cool. Hopefully we have enough time to show you and install it together, um, and go from there. So this needs to be installed. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the install update pack again. Right? And then I'm going to ignore any prerequisite checks. You're more than welcome to leave it unchecked, but again, it's up to you. But due to time crunches, we're going to go ahead and click next. So this one here overwrites our current client package with the new client package. Yeah, we do want to do that. All new client installations and client upgrades will use this new client update. So this is great. This also updates our client update package, right? So whatever version this is, right? So whatever version this is, right? So version. So that right there is going to update that as well too. And then we can also validate the client on members in a pre-production collection while you keep the production client packages intact. So this is sort of kind of cool for testing purposes. You have a pre-production collection. You can create one in your assets and compliance and call it the pre-production collection. So I can go like this and call it a device collection, right? And call it, create a new one and call it pre um, pre-production collection, right? Pre-production collection, right? And then set it up to whatever device collection that you want. So for example, all systems machine. Again, this can be different. You can create your own device collections for your test environment, right? And then work with that. But in this case, I just want to do it with all because we're testing. We're in a testing environment, and then we're just going to click next, right? And then we're going to add a direct rule, right? In your case, it could be that. And then I want all machines names, right? I want all machines names or unknown computers that start with a value of percentage. Again, that percentage character is a wild card for a part or all of the values. So understand how that works. And we're going to exclude resources marked as obsolete and not have the client installed, right? Okay, we can do that as well too. So I'll check that off. And then I'm going to select all because I just want to test it. I don't care. And then click next, next, and finish, right? So that rule's already created. And an incremental update periodically evaluates new resources, then adds resources that qualify to this collection. This option does not require you to schedule a full update for this correction. So this is a basic schedule that I want. I don't need a schedule. It should happen once because we're in a test environment, but in your production environment, you want to create custom intervals or weekly intervals and put them, for example, start it today, I don't know, let's say 12:30, for example, or 12, well, about half an hour. So I can change the time using the arrows here. And I'll change that down to 30. All right. So I'll give you enough time to troubleshoot this thing. And then this will occur every week on, let's say, today's date, Tuesday. We want this at Tuesday at 12:30 every day. But again, in a production environment, this is done based on, you know, schedule, right? So this is usually done at night, right? So we would want this done at night. So this wouldn't be a 12:30. I just want to test it for this class, but this would be done, I don't know, like every Sunday or Saturday, right? For example. And this would update every Saturday or Sunday, right? And this would update weekly, every week on a Saturday, or once a month, or custom, right? Or none. So it's totally up to you how you want it. In this instance, you can only pick one day. So I want this, let's say today's date is, since we're starting it today, Tuesday. So this would be for Tuesday today. And then we'll click OK. And then click next, next, and finish. So that's how we create a device collection uh, for that instance, right? And then I'm going to click close, right? So I've now created the device collection called pre-production collection. And I'm going to refresh. Okay. And that has 3 machines in it. So, and then our different deployment collections and whatnot and our custom settings. Again, this is sort of acts for that specific thing. So for example, if I want to validate this in a pre-production collection, I now have that collection created. So I'm going to upgrade without validating and I'm going to click next. Okay. I also want to make sure that I read these license terms and private statements and click next. And I'm going to click next. So we're also going to enable cloud attach. Now, cloud attach is basically a private cloud infrastructure. Now, if you do have Intune, right, you're going to sign in here. So if you do not have a subscription, then you're going to click here. Okay. Just give me 1 second. So this is to sign into the account, right? And I already have an account. And this is how we would sign up. So you want to sign up for your free plan 1 trial. I also have a video on that if you guys want to take a look. Pretty straightforward. Make sure you have that. And again, I want you guys to do this as well and send screenshots. Let me know that you did it. That way you're following along. You have up to 30 days to start free trial with a credit card. It's free, and we can then extend it 30 days. So you should have a total of 60 if done correctly. And again, it's got same features as a paid feature, right? So starting off with your Intune plan 1, if you're curious to know what that is, right? So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Sign in again. So, okay. And I'm going to go ahead and type in my my username and password, right? I already have created, right? And next. And I'm going to enter in my password, and when prompted with MFA, should be able to connect to MFA, right? So I should have the Authenticator app. If you don't have the Authenticator app, make sure you download it on your phone. And I think I have videos on that as well too for you guys to take a look at. And I want you guys to see how that works. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and connect to that, verify that. You can use your Face ID if you'd like, right? And then as you can see, again, you could subscribe here if you don't have it, but if you do have it, again, you want to make sure you sign in, right? So I've already gone ahead and signed in, and hopefully that should take it now. Should take it. Just give it 1 second. And I'm going to go ahead and leave the default settings that are recommended. There you go. Should. All right. So there you go. It's signed in now. Great. And then I'm going to click, I'm going to select the default settings, right? Which enables automatic enrollment of all eligible races in Intune, enables endpoint analytics, and automatic uploads of all your devices within your Intune admin center. So I'm going to click next on that. And this action will register an application in the Enter ID tenant, right? To authorize the synchronization of data. Yeah, of course I do. I want that to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, put that in my notes first, so I'll get rid of it. That's okay. That's the error for that. And then I'm also going to give you guys this application error because you have to make sure you sign in, right, to this. So it's important that you sign in. And we're going to choose the first option. I'm going to say yes, right? And then here's a summary of everything that I've done. So I enabled the Intune Admin Center, which equals true, which is good. And then I want to click next. And this is now going to install it. And I should be able to go from there. Ciao. I'm doing something, pa. Ha chiamato Angela. Angela, yeah, la mamma di Eric. Okay, I'm doing something. So, as you can see, it's waiting. It's working on that. So give it 1 second. Go ahead and install that. And while we're doing that, I'm going to look at the SCP role while that's waiting. All right, so we're going to go to the administration here. These are Azure services. So as you can see, the Azure service will be created. Once it's created, you'll see that our config is now created. Our service is now created. Give me 1 second. So I'm going to close this wizard successfully. So here's the wizard, which is done. And this is the cloud service that I've attached there that's installed correctly. So I want to go back to our sites and site service roles here. And I want to make sure that the site system role is installed. And I want to take a look at the properties of that. And it looks like the service is already installed, right? If it wasn't installed, then we would ensure that we would add it, right? So we would add a site system role, right? And then follow the necessary steps to add that as site system role. We're going to use the site server computer account to install this, or I can use another one. Sometimes, you can create service accounts for this so that it doesn't affect specific uh, errors. It doesn't give you errors in the logs. I've noticed a lot of the times to avoid those. But you can also create within our group policy management here, and I'll show you where it is. There's different things you can do, but again, I'm just gonna go with the defaults for now, but it's totally up to you. I've also created different. I can get this to work here. Our GP. See if I can remote. Um, but anyway, you can go into your GPM edit and create GP edits, GP. Uh, group policies for that and have those automatically um, install those, right? You can create different accounts, so it's local service accounts within those um, GPs. If I can get this working, I can show you guys, but just kind of get the gist of things here. Do I have oh, so I'm gonna go ahead and command. Let's go gp edit dot msc. Right? So there's specific templates that you're able to create, right? So how about we do this instead? I'm going to open up that, and I'm going to try another way. So remember, it's always good to troubleshoot your, if there's any issues. So what I'm doing here, uh, troubleshoot, always good. And these are just group policy objects. Um, the group policy management is GPM. Hang on, let me see if I can find that there. GPM. GP edit.msc. So this one here. Okay. So let's try that again. Edit.msc. Right click. Right click. Start. Okay. So anyway, I really wanted to get you guys. I really wanted to show you guys. Unfortunately, I can't show you guys. But your best bet is to go to the GP edit, and there are some components, all settings here, right? There's a what are they called? Oh my God. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll let you know when I'm just going to review that in my notes here. But there is a setting within the group policy objects, what we can create. And we can create these um, using that. So give me 1 second, okay? Okay. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. I'll get you that word that I want you guys to hear about. These are so within the editor, these are called item level targeting. So you're creating, so basically when you're creating that, it's found in the preferences of that GP. So it's within the computer, and then within the computer, you're going to administrative templates, right? And then you're going to Windows settings if it's there, right? And then within the Windows settings, you can create those item level targeting. And again, you can create different accounts. You can set up different accounts for that. What, like for example, you want to SCCM client install using the SUPWS, right? So we can use item level targeting for that. That's what I wanted to share with you guys. So um, you can create those item level targets, right? Within the GPO, it's totally up to you. It all depends on how you want to create them. But these are done within our group policy management editor. And that's what I wanted to show you, but it looks like we don't have it. Right? So even if I want to add group policy management editor, no, see, it doesn't have it. So I'm not able to add it here. That's okay. But you guys kind of get the gist of it. This is our local, right? So if the Active Directory, okay, might have to just restart it. Let's just restart it and go back to this machine. Okay, so as we move along, you guys kind of understand why that works. And again, I can create site system installation accounts, right? So I'll use this server's computer account, which is our local computer account, right, or a local group, local user, right, or admin user, or Active Directory user, or SC admin, or administrator. Or you can use another site and set that to an existing or a new account, right? So we can set another account for installing the site system, right? So I can use an existing account, right? That's created, or I can use a new account that I want to create, right? So I can create new accounts and verify these user accounts based on that, right? Uh, and give it the network share that I need. So you guys kind of understand. I'm just going to leave the defaults for now. If the site server is unable to communicate with the site system using Kerberos, and I think I spoke about Kerberos a while back, it allows you to use a less secure MLM collection. And if you guys want, you guys can take a look at this link and read up on it for a good read. I'm going to leave everything as is. And I'm going to go next, right? And I'm going to go next for proxy if you have a proxy. And in this instance, I want to add the site role. So I would add my SCP role, right? I can add my SCP role, right? I'm not going to do these right now, but again, you guys kind of understand where I'm going with this. So I'm not going to select, I'm just going to cancel that out, right? And close that. So that's how you would install that. So in this case, we do have our SCP role installed and it's online and persistent connection. So that's good. If we want to learn a little bit more about that, we can also read the link on that. So I'm going to post this link here as a good read. And I'm also going to post this about as a good read too. Right? And I'm put this back on my notes for SCP. Yeah, there's a link for that. And 20. So that's a good link and read. This is also a good link to read about. So understand how that works. And again, we're reviewing it. We did review it. Here's the install link. Um, that's already installed for you guys. So that's done. And again, now we're gonna go now since we're done, we're gonna go to back to our in console in our administration pane, and then go back to our updates and services feature, and it looks like it's installing, so that's great, right? That's good. And you notice that it's loaded here. And again, we can check the status for that roll up if we want. Right? And this looks like it's in. So here's our status, right? And then we can, do a domain functional check, right? With 2 or 3. So this is just verifying that our Active Directory domain functional level is 2000 or later, which um, should be okay, right? And our functional level should be in our server itself, right? So we can when we're installing our ADDS role in our domain controller. So that's where that's found. And so again, this is installing uh, fine right now. So that's good. Let's go back to our updates and service. And it looks like this is installing. Um, Again, we can look at the status, right? And go from there. So let's go ahead and see if we can download the version. There's 2 ways of downloading it that I found. And we can go ahead and checklist and follow the checklist through that. And you guys can take a look at that and check that out. But I want you guys as an assignment install version 2409. Okay, that's your assignment for today as well, too, guys. I want you guys to try that out, and it's part of that. Okay, so we have our assignment 3. This is install that. I want you guys to do that on your own, and that's it. Again, guys, I want to thank you again. Any questions, please feel free to message me. There will be a part 3, so look out for that. Please feel free to message me on WhatsApp. Again, I want you to tell me who you are, right? First name and last name before I add you. Not just regular. You need to tell me who you are. I want your first name and last name if you're going to message me. What is your country location? What do you like about this video? And what are your long-term goals when using SCCM, MECM, right? Is there any projects going on right now in your company? Questions about the assignments and adding snapshots into a Word document or PDF is okay. I want you guys to do that. Or you can also share your OneNote sheets with me in production.inc2@gmail.com. I want to thank you guys again for taking the time here, and hope everything is okay. It seems like I'm not able. Oh, my looks like the DC is stalling somewhere, so I'm gonna have to take a look at that. I might have to reboot both machines, but I'm gonna end it from here, guys. I want to thank you again for your um, your comments. Please like and subscribe. Message me on WhatsApp. Anybody that did this, thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. Have yourself a great Tuesday.